let's talk about table time and what we can target in terms of communication during that really typical time of day in our classrooms. So table time, what I mean by that is that time of day where you've got small group instruction. Maybe it's just the teacher and the paraprofessional and one child, or 2 or 3 child. So small group instruction. At a preschool level and some of our elementary levels, we're doing things like we're reading storybooks, or we're sorting out colors and shapes. Maybe we're doing a puzzle or coloring pages. Maybe we are cutting and pasting a simple activity. The materials that we're using are things like glue sticks, our scissors, and our markers. Now, there's a lot of goals for this time of day. These are probably IEP objectives that you've established for your students. So they may be things like understanding sorting by color, or understanding the words same and different. Maybe you're targeting fine motor skills, so using your markers for coloring and writing and drawing lines for fine motor skills. That is not to say that there's a lot that you can also be doing in terms of communication. Remember, communication is that thread that weaves between all of the academic activities that we are targeting with our students. And it's the one activity that deeply impacts a child's success as they move into teenage years and adulthood. Being able to communicate is the most important thing that we can give to our students. So how are we going to target communication as a matter of course during our table time or small group instruction time? So I want to give you a few ideas. A lot of this depends on the communication level of your students. I'm going to show you a couple of different supplies that you can use. Now, you may have a student who is communicating at a very emergent level. So maybe they're just beginning to learn that a photograph or a picture symbol means something. Those students can also communicate during these activities. So I might start with them with something as simple as giving them a choice of which activity we begin with. So I have multiple activities that we're going to work on in our group time today. We're going to read a book, so we've got some books to read. We have puzzles, we have coloring pages to do, and it really doesn't matter to me which one we start with. So we can begin by giving students a choice. That's going to make them more interested, engaged, and cooperative with the activities. So our children who are at that very emergent level, you may do something as simple as show them the actual object. So maybe we're going to say to them, do you want to read your book first, or do you want to sort your frogs and ducks first? But if we want to start to teach them more symbolic communication, we can do this with photographs. So I have created a few little picture cards that we could use for communicating a choice. Now these are just baseball card sleeves, so they're nice and hard. You can put a piece of Velcro on the back of them and put them on a single message switch so they'll have a voice output, or just use them like this. So I might say to my child, rather than just giving them the object choices, I might say, okay, would you like to read a book or do your coloring page? And I'm going to hold these out and let them pick one. The one that they look at or that they select, they touch, that's the one that we're going to use. Now, this is not a robust communication system, so it doesn't lead the child to being able to communicate all day, every day, whenever they want to. So, because can you imagine if we only give them these cards and we say, hey, later on in the day, what would you like to do? If we haven't presented these cards, they don't have a way to communicate that. So you probably want to be also thinking about, in addition to using some of these picture cards, also doing this on a more high-tech, robust communication system. And this is TD Snap. And the way that I did this is this is what my core word page typically looks like. I just went down to my topics. I created a topic for table time. And in here, there are many choices for them to make of what kind of activity that they want to do first. So they can choose a book, or they can choose a puzzle, or a coloring page. So this is one way to do it, that you have access to it immediately for your students. Okay, so once we've made a choice, The other thing that we can do is think about what are the other types of words and messages that we might want to target during our activity. So let's take a look at some of those activities. If we're doing an activity like cutting and pasting, a sorting activity, we can always request the scissors. So we have on our communication board, scissors.
Scissors.
Maybe I don't have a communication board, so I'm going to get my cards back out again, and I'm going to make sure that I have a card for scissors and a card for my glue stick. So I may leave my glue stick card out on the table so that the child can, whenever they need the glue stick, they can reach for it or look at it. Now, what if your child's not doing that yet? What if they aren't really recognizing that they need to touch it? That's okay. What you're going to do is you're going to model the use of this. So you might touch it or show it to them before you hand them the glue stick. You might look at the communication device and you might say, oh, you need a glue stick.
Glue stick.
I'm going to get you a glue stick.
Glue stick.
And then you hand it to them. How about other words and messages that are important for us to learn? So if you're doing an activity like sorting, this is a simple sorting sheet for red and yellow. So we're going to cut these things out. We're going to put them on the page so they can do that asking, but they can also use words like same and different. So on this device, I'm going to go to my core words, and I've looked up, I did my search feature here to find the words same and different, and it told me where to find them. So I'm going to type in S-A-M-E, and it's going to show me where same is, all right? I'm going to follow the flashing light, and I'm going to go down because it tells me to go down, and I'm going to get to this page where same is. So now I've learned that when I'm on my core page, I'm going to go to descriptions. I'm going to scroll 3 times until I get to same. Now, are we going to ask our child to do that? Absolutely not. At first, what we're going to do is we're going to be the ones that takes them to this page. We're going to get this page set up for them, and then we're going to start talking about, oh, look, the apple and a crayon are the same color. If we don't want to use our device, we're not quite there yet, maybe we're not quite there yet, or they're not quite there yet, then maybe I'm going to at first introduce these symbols this way with same and different with some picture cards to just show them and isolate that for them. Ultimately, though, I want to get back onto this robust communication system as soon as I possibly can. Okay, so those are the words that we can use there. The other words that I would use on the table or have on the table available for the child is a way for them to control the situation. So I'm going to go back to my cards again, and I'm going to make sure that I have available for them words like stop and more. These are really important control messages. So as you're doing this work with a child, you cut the little items out, and every time we pick up a new item, we could say the word more. We could say, okay, we're going to get more. We can say it, we can show them the symbol, have it nice and isolated in just this one image. The other thing that we can do is we can go back to our communication device, and we can look on our screen, and on our core word, these are words that we can use across many, many, many different activities. So they're available right on the main core page. We've got the words more, more, and stop, right there on the main page. Now, when you look at this, what if you say, hey, my kiddo is at this level. This is a whole lot for them. We can also just go into our device and we can hide these buttons. And then I'm just going to pick the 2 words that I want to show for them. And then on my screen, this is all the student sees is more and stop. So now we've simplified our robust communication system down to this level. So you can do both of these things for them. All right. And then during our activity, we can always have an opportunity to ask for more of an item or to say stop. Now, you may be at the point of working with an emergent communicator, you may be watching their body so that you are supporting them in being able to match what they are trying to say to a picture symbol at first, right? So as that child starts to get wiggly and move around or push things away, you can say to them, oh, it looks like you're ready to stop. Or we might show them the picture symbol like, oh, you're ready to stop. And then you're going to pause. You're going to give them a minute or 2. You don't necessarily have to completely stop the activity. You can pause for a little bit, let them take a break, and then you can move back into the activity. Other activities that you might work on, maybe you're going to work on a coloring page. So think about what are the kinds of things that you might need to say on the coloring page. Well, it's pretty easy to think the first thing that you want is you're going to need to have a marker, right? So we can always go down to our topics. I've set up my table time and a marker is right here.
Marker.
I can put a picture symbol on the page, on the table of our marker, so that the child can touch or reach for the picture symbol of the marker if they need it initially introduced in a very isolated way, or they can use their communication device, right? As they are coloring on their page, they can request different colors. So if you look on your communication device, I'm going to choose my all words list. And then in here, you'll see colors are right here. Now again, your student is not turning the pages. You are turning the pages initially to show them how to get to this page. And then they can pick a color. So they can choose what color marker that they want to color on their page, right? Okay. So that should give you some ideas about how to make sure that you're targeting some form of communication when you're doing those table time activities with your student. I know that our goals a lot of times are more academic, of matching colors, matching shapes, sorting materials out. But at all times, we can give students the opportunity to participate more by giving them the chance to communicate with us and practice those skills that are going to serve them for a very, very long time.